Hello, Team Flyer. My name is Ariadna. I'm the founder of the Always Believer podcast, and today we're here and we're back and we're ready to go with the next person of the Go to Fly family, Miss Nastassja. There you go. Please help me with your name, because we have this. We were talking about this previously before the interview and whatnot about our names, because I understand that I have a difficult name as well to say. So we bonded really well because of this. So once again, your name, please.
Nastassja.
Nastassja. You would think it's easier because I'm Latin and I know Spanish, but because I'm speaking English, I'm like, what now?
If it makes you feel any better, I did not know what my name was until I was in 5th grade. So I was told, how I say it. I was told my whole life up until 5th grade that my name was Natasha. That's my father called me it. My mother called me it. And then I went to school one day and my teacher was like, "You're spelling and you're saying your name wrong." And I was like, "No, I'm not. Don't tell me this. I've been saying Natasha my whole life." So I got sent to the principal's office. And then they called my parents. My mom's like, "Honey, your name is really Nastassja. That's what it is. Just stop arguing with the teacher, please, so I can get back to work." And so I was like, I've been lied to my whole life. My name is what?
Huge.
I refused to be called Nastassja until I was in high school. And when I hit high school, I was like, I'm grown now. I'm a woman. I need a woman's name. Natasha is not going to do it for me. I'm now Nastassja.
It's like Natasha's the 5-year-old version of me, okay?
She knew nothing about life.
Exactly. I'm grown now. I'm Nastassja. I love your name. I really don't know what it means. I know we're not going to get on that tangent right now. We have other things to talk about, but we'll go back to this because and that story is epic. Not in trouble.
Thank you. It's very light.
That was your parents' fault, though. Then it's like,
oh yeah, absolutely. I blame them still to this day. And like, what's ridiculous is that they still don't call me Nastassja. They still call me Natasha.
I'm Ariadna with a D, and I get Adriana, I get Ariana as well. And every single time it's like, Ariana, like Ariana Grande, and I'm like, no. Like,
no. You
not
see
that
the
I don't
D.
like her, I do. Go girl power and go you. It's just like, that's not my name. Anyways, so Nastassja, if I mispronounce it at some point of life, let me know. Okay. I do like getting names right because talking from experience.
Yeah, right. I got you.
All right, Ms. Nastassja. All right, so tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about your backstory, love.
Well, I'm 20. I am 28. I keep forgetting my age because it keeps changing every year.
A lot with
it keeps changing every year. So like every time when it's like about to change again, I'm like, oh damn it, how old am I? I'm 28. I was born in Washington State. But moved to Los Angeles area when I was about 6 or 7, and I've lived all up and down Southern California for my whole life practically, except for a couple of years where we lived in the South. I am an Afro-Latina producer and writer. I actually co-own a film and television production company with my partner, Matt Nicholas, called Maverick, where we create content that caters to multicultural and universal audience, but like with a focus on storytelling mediums that empower people of color, women, the LGBTQ community, and other marginalized groups. We actually just sold a film last year to Amazon Studios alongside Gabrielle Union's production company, I'll Have Another Productions, and Manal Khan's Amulet. And we are currently producing a film that my partner and I wrote with Viola Davis's production company called GV Productions. So, I mean, this has been a tremendous year for us. So I hate to be one of those people who defines who they are by their career, but right now that's all I'm focused on. So I have that.
I feel like I wish our listeners could see my face because my jaw just kept dropping, or like my eyes just kept like opening up more and more with everything that you just said. That is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Oh my God. I'm excited to hear more, and I'm excited to see you grow, like hear more of the backstory of everything and how like that, came together. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
First and foremost.
So much. Thank you.
I feel like that's just, I liked your last sentence of like, you don't like to define yourself with what you do. Because I agree. I feel like we're much more than our job and much more than that title.
Absolutely.
However, like, it is your passion. It's what gets you up in the morning.
Yeah,
It is,
it honestly is. Yeah.
like, I posted about that as well recently on my Insta story, Insta feed in general, in this particular case. And I'm like, what's your biggest passion? And like that kind of thing that gets you up and going at 5 a.m, 4 a.m. You're like, I'm going to do it. And right now that's the thing for you. And it has to be, because that's your,
Yeah,
that's the love of your
absolutely.
life, obviously. That's
It so
huge.
is. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So you're currently in California. Where are you currently right now?
No, I work in California. I live in Indiana. I can't, I'm one of those writers that's like, I can't, I'm gonna sound such like a diva, but like, I can't write in California. I can't write in Los Angeles. It's like too, hustle and bustle and so much noise going on. It's just so distracting to where like, I can't sit down and write. So like, when I feeling that way, I have to have like some type of like reset button or like moment where I'm like, and you have to do that in a place that's like the complete opposite of Los Angeles. So what do? You get a dartboard and you put a map on it and you get a dart and you throw the dart and it hits Indiana. So that's where you go.
I feel like with your personality, that's probably exactly what you did. I've known you 5 seconds.
Absolutely.
Between our previous conversation and this one, I feel like that's exactly. I was like, you know what? Anywhere in the U.S., come on, we could do this. It could be Hawaii, for all I care.
And what's funny was that like before I came out here, I actually had a job offer that came out that had to do with me moving here, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. This is like a big move. But then like when I was like, oh, but I need something new and scary, I'm just gonna throw a dart on a board, and wherever that says to go, that's where I'm gonna go. And it ended up hitting Indiana anyway. So I guess I was meant to come here.
Are you an Indiana girl now?
When I need to be.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
I feel you. I grew up in big cities, literally all around the world, because my life has been hectic of its own. And I just moved back from Barcelona, which of course is a huge city, and now I'm in the suburbs, and it's completely quiet, and I have nature right next to me, and that sounds wonderful, which it is. I feel you though. I feel you because the hustle and bustle of a big city is hard to concentrate, and like no matter how much creative flow there is in one, and how much you can get everything you need in a city, which I understand.
Yeah.
But the move here for many reasons, and one of them was this one, I've created so much content and I've been so much calmer, and that's just that's I'm in Indiana-ish.
Yeah.
I'm in the suburbs of Massachusetts, but still.
But it works. It's like, it gives you that breather to like really take in your environment, to not just even take in your environment, but to take in where your mind is. And so like when you're in the city, you're constantly, or at least for me personally, I'm constantly on edge. I'm in this business mode because I'm going to business meetings every day. I'm trying to close deals. I'm trying to like, and I don't mean to be vulgar, but like walk around with my balls in my pants, because, you know, you kind of have to when you deal with executives. But like, I need a moment to where I can just stop all that, and I can, if that means I have to look at a cornfield to kind of take a deep breath and to kind of get into mindfulness, then that's what I have to do. It's what you have to do.
Exactly. That's what you have to
Peace
do.
of mind.
Yeah. Your health comes first, and I feel like that's just a really important thing.
Yes,
And no matter what you
absolutely.
do, obviously, I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh, only creators, of course. I feel like, yeah, if you have a creative mind, no matter what kind of creative you are, from an artist to musician to whatever in between, our mind goes a million miles per minute with all the ideas that we want to do in the creative process. But in any case scenario, anything, no matter what you do, it could be, you know, from a store clerk, and it sounds mundane, but if that was going to make you, like, bring you peace, then go for it.
Absolutely.
So definitely, like, I'm an Indiana girl when I want to be, or when I have to be. I'm like, yep, I hear you. I hear you. All right, so we got your go to fly story, and it's beautiful. I
Thank you.
I could not love it anymore. Like, I shared it so much.
Oh, thank you.
You talk about choosing ourselves, and I feel like it's so important. That is something that we talk about constantly here at The Always Believer. So before we get into that, we can talk a little bit of the backstory behind it, because we also talk about, like, you had some toxic relationships when you were younger. So you can go as much detail as you like, obviously, with what you'd had.
Yeah, you know, there was a lot of toxic relationships that I was near growing up. Some that unfortunately really shaped my idea of what I thought a relationship was supposed to look like. A lot of it was like this idea that a woman will always be inferior to her spouse and that she's only there to serve her husband and to bear his children. And that's it. She is not good for anything else. She must stay quiet. She must not have an opinion. A lot of toxic behavior that I witnessed, it didn't come from witnessing a spat between couples, but sometimes a spat between family members, and how the issues were never actually solved, but always swept under the rug. And I feel like that is such a huge situation, a huge thing in the Latino community and in the Black communities, that whenever there's like a situation that arises, we tend to sweep it under the rug and just be like, oh, we'll leave that there, and kind of hide it. So while my mother did all that she could do to make sure that I was independent, that I was free-spirited and able to fly without needing a man's approval, I still had the other images from what I saw stamped into the back of my brain. And that stamp, though it was dormant for most of my life because I really didn't have any romantic relationships until I really hit like 1920s, it became active when I had my first real boyfriend at the age of 20. So it was a really, really bad experience. He was possessive, he was mentally abusive, he was manipulative, and constantly took advantage of my kindness and used my passiveness to fix whatever he needed from me. But I thought it was normal because of what I had already seen. So I didn't flinch when I should have. I didn't run when I should have. I thought, oh, but this is how a relationship is supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to look like. So it kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, An Inconvenient Truth, but it's like a frog sitting in a boiling pot. So if you put a frog in and you put the pot on low, the water's cool, it's refreshing. And, as it gets warmer, his body's adjusting to the temperature, but once it gets too hot, it's already too late.
Yeah,
so It was kind of like that. It was that experience so much so. And by the time that it got hot, my mind was all over the place. That relationship lasted about 9 months. And then afterwards, when I realized, oh, I don't like this, I know this is what it's supposed to look like, but I don't like this situation. I don't want to ever be in again. And so I had made that promise to myself. But what I did not understand is that because I had that idea stamped into my brain for so long, it was already part of who I was because I had not shaken it off. So I was wrong. And it would have been at least about twice where I encountered the same type of relationship, if not worse. Not all romantic relationships, but the same type of person was always present. It was the same. So that's when I realized that there was still a lot of dust under this particular rug, and a new broom wasn't going to make a difference. I needed to do a deep clean. And during that deep cleaning process is where I actually started to learn how to choose me. And so deep clean for sure.
I commend you for that deep cleaning.
Thank you.
Once again, that story from you, for Go to Fly, it touched my heart because I relate to it, but it's not even past tense, just in general.
I'm so glad.
To the T. I mean, I've also had toxic relationships, both with family members, with ex-boyfriends and whatnot. So I hear you and I feel you from definitely a deeper level. I'm sure a lot of the listeners do. And especially the fact that you said, the point being of like, you thought that was normal. Yeah. I grew up in a quote unquote non-normal environment. However, I'm finding that out now for my recent years. Whereas once again, when I was your age, when I was 20, we're both 20, same thing right now. We thought that was normal. So I agree. I like it still happens today to some extent. I'm not going to get into too deep with mine because I still want to talk to you and have more questions for you. But it still happens to me. I'm happily married. I married my best friend, and that is a healthy relationship. And I'm so thankful.
Oh, and good.
Even to this day, he still gets like, "Hun, that's not normal. That's shake it off, babe. Shake it off." Like,
oh, I love that.
Yeah, exactly. So no, he's
patience. I love that so much.
He's the most supportive thing in my life. So I do understand you. Like, once again, your story itself. A lot of them, I get a lot of different stories for Go to Fly, and a lot of them touch me in different ways, and yours in particular because of that, of course. So I definitely commend you.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that acceptable to talk about this now. Isn't
Oh
that
my
crazy?
God, tell me about it.
Because it was a very taboo conversation, but it's like now we have created this ability to talk about it now, and it's so refreshing.
I love that. I love I feel like with you, I already told you off the bat when we started emailing each other whatnot, I feel like there's a lot that we can talk about. So I do want to take advantage of the time. I know you're going to be on the podcast more times, and I so appreciate it, so love it, because of what you said. This is the essence of this particular podcast, and there has to be more out there.
Yeah, I
It doesn't
agree.
matter how it has to be a podcast. It could be a video. It could be a TV show. It could be whatever it is. It's just like your freaking amazing company. Like
Oh,
I
thank
read
you.
that, I'm like, that's what the world needs. A conversation, flow. I came out saying, I've been sexually abused, and the fact that I say it on a quote unquote constant level, not every day, but the fact that it's not hidden anymore, it's like, I
It's
love that
huge.
we're making that change, and I think that's
My
so
therapist would
important.
love that statement. Yes, no, it's huge.
It really is, because it's like we're owning up to a lot of things in our lives, and we're making the change. Like, we're not the victims precisely. We're kind of, we're definitely survivors, but I feel like I don't consider myself a survivor anymore. I did that for a really long time. Now it's like I'm thriving. Like, now it's like been there, done that in the past, still got a little bit to go and shed, because I mean, it's there. Like, if it's, you're just 28 and this was when you were still 20, 25, probably like around that age, like me, it's still there. Like, it's just brand.
Oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm 31, going on 32 in a few months, and so the difference of age, more or less, is, but I feel you the same. Like, even though I'm only 3 years older right now, it's the change is just starting to happen, especially because you're so used to it, of something like that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. You very quickly also said, in both right now, what you just said, and also in Go to Fly story, you talk about being a woman in entertainment. You receive different pressures to look a certain way. Can you tell us a little bit on that, please?
Oh, sure. It's Hollywood. So it's the land of celery juice cleanses, waist trainers, Instagram models, and yoga ambassadors. I still to this day don't know what that is. So there is
That title, though. I mean, I love yoga, but dang. All right. Sorry, continue.
But no, there is just so much pressure. If you ever just really hating yourself at the moment and you really need some criticism, just spend like a week or two in Los Angeles, and you'll for sure find someone who just wants to give you some friendly advice on how they lost the weight and how you can do it too, as long as you subscribe to their YouTube channel and comment down below. 100%. 1 week at least, at the very least, I'm sure you'll find somebody. I mean, like, I go to meetings on a regular basis with talent and those who spend a lot of time in front of the camera, like for casting and collaboration purposes. And I won't lie when I say that I'm always drinking in on how perfect they look. And by the day's end, I'm looking up vegan diets and cardio workouts, but like, I'm doing this as I'm scarfing down a bag of potato chips dipped in hot sauce. So it's like, what can
your pictures? Oh my God, we gotta talk about pictures. It's not on the list to talk about today, but on your pic. Oh my God, that's how I found you. This girl, I swear, like Team Flyer, her pictures were just so freaking perfection.
Oh,
I'm not gonna start swearing right now, because I don't swear much, but you deserve one of those, like, oh, look at her go, like, wow.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I love how real you are with, like, I'm just looking at like how to diet while I'm still eating chips,
Yeah, absolutely. It's like that is an everyday battle. Or like my version of exercising is like clicking the remote to change the channel 100%. So, I mean, but like, what can you do about it? You can only take some of this a grain of salt and accepting. And I think, this even had to do with what we were talking about before, like the certain types of conversations that are now being brought to the table, accepting the natural you and body positivity and promoting diversity in all shapes, sizes, colors, and types. That also just became a new thing.
And it's once again, you and me do have in common. Sorry for interrupting. But
no, you're good.
It's definitely that. That's something else I remember mentioning to you, because I mean, I've talked in different podcasts about it, and in general, my blog. You can find me, and I'm very honest about my health. And I agree with you. It's just like, we have to look a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm so over that. I'm like, I just want to be myself. I'm Latin. I have big thighs. I have big boobs.
We're curvy. What can you do?
It's like, I'm not the Instagram model that you see, or like the LA one.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I'm not either. And I think it takes a lot of adjustment after years and years of being told that you need to look a certain way in order to be considered beautiful. And, I'm so glad you mentioned the photos, because prior to that, I had not taken a full body photo of myself in 3 years because of the beauty standards that we have. And for 3 years, I was silently dismissing my value because I assumed that how I look was hideous. And therefore, there was no need to document it. So it wasn't until that photo shoot. There was one other photo shoot that I had before Joelle, but I think that was like around October, November. It was right around until then where I decided I was done with the bull crap. I was done with dismissing myself. I was done accepting somebody else's opinion of how I should be. And the only opinion that truly 100% mattered was my own, hands down.
Once again, preach, just 110% right there to you. Yes. It's easy to say, hard to do. However, I feel, and I hope, at least on my behalf, I'm doing what I can. I'm showing myself more and
you
more,
have
and
to.
not because of like our community, our listeners, our whoever the heck is right there right now. Just for me, just for myself, just why not?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, definitely. Oh my gosh. So the next question through all this, even though you have already kind of responded to some extent, was, how you overcome all those kind of traumas. How are you overcoming it now? And what are your I can't even speak. I'm so emotional right now. I'm like, oh my God, I just want to like cheer you on and just like wave or do something, anyways.
Thank you.
What's the next step to shake all that off and allowing you to be the best version of yourself?
Bi-weekly therapy sessions. I'm going to talk about my therapist a lot on here, by the way, because I feel like therapy does not get enough credit as it should. I mean, again, they're bringing the conversations to the table, but like, I freaking love my therapist. So bi-weekly therapy sessions is where I give a lot of my credit to. I went there specifically to handle so sorry. I went there specifically to handle the PTSD I was dealing with from all the sweeping under the rug trauma. And every time I leave a session, I feel more and more empowered to take ownership of who I am after years of letting other people claim me. Another place that deserves a lot of credit, it goes to my faith. I had to learn to love. I have a very Christian background, so I had to learn to love. I had to learn to love the person who God intended me to be, and to continue to say, no, screw that. And basically throw shade at myself was such a slap in the face to him that I couldn't live that way anymore. And I knew that I had to make that change in order to truly feel I could get to the next step. And then another one is my writing, because without it, the thoughts that stumble around in my head would remain prisoners to this land of like solitary confinement. So, but like, if I'm being honest, I don't know if I have fully overcome it all. Like, I still have nightmares. I still have not reached 100% full comfortability in certain areas that involve the opposite sex. I still am dealing with it or learning to overcome it. I only started making healthy choices to overcome my trauma a few years ago, but I have turned into the kind of person that once I know who my enemy is, once the issue is understood of why I'm making these decisions, of why I continuously choose that person, of why I keep walking in the same path. Once I can acknowledge the issue, I'm the type of person that will take it head on with the force of a wrecking ball. So the destination, to overcoming the trauma hasn't been fully reached, but I'm okay with that, because that is like, I'll get there. Right now, I feel like this journey to get there is way more important. And I don't want to be cliche when I say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I understand how cliche that sounds. I'm so sorry, but it is so necessary.
Do not be sorry.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing that the women in my family keep saying, we have to stop apologizing. But it's true. Like I have to be on this journey. And I feel like I'm on a damn good journey, and I'm okay with that.
Oh gosh, there's so much I want to say, and I'm still very emotional. I think you've by God is like see, I can't speak. This is how emotional I'm getting right now.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So first things first, the therapy. There you go.
Uh-huh.
I agree. Of course, how can I not agree about therapy? I feel like that is just something that everyone needs. It's not because you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or something else.
Right.
It's not because you're crazy or anything like that. It's just because we all need someone to talk to just to listen. I mean, yeah, we have friends and family, and that's something that we're all grateful for. There's always someone
Mhm.
by our side, stuff. But with things with therapists, you can go in deeper and darker because that's what they're there for, and that's what the
Mhm.
profession is. So I agree.
Yeah,
I
they have
also
a
went to
level of
therapy when I was
perception that
yeah,
we don't have.
yeah, that's true. That's a thing. It's like diagnosing yourself whenever you I don't know. Well, when you have a cold, it's kind of easy, but you know what I mean. Like if you have a medical
Yeah,
issue, you don't just diagnose yourself. You go to an actual doctor. So it's the exact same thing. It's for your mind,
absolutely.
and it helps so much. I mean, I've gone through therapy for the 10 years by now. I want to say more or less. That's how a lot of things came out, and that's a lot of things I needed to come out. I am right there with you. This is another thing that's really important to us here at the Always Believer. It's you know you see me as a positive person because I utterly feel like I am. I'm very optimistic. However, I never sell you the fact that, oh, my life is perfect. God, no. Gosh, no.
Yeah.
No. It's an everyday uphill, not a battle or struggle. I do not like those words actually, and I'm sounding very cliche again. I don't want to. but
Sometimes we have to. It's okay.
you're like, but it's not a struggle though. It's like it's a up. I don't know how to say it right now. Once again, it's you got me emotional, so my words are coming out little by little. What I'm trying to say is that every day is a challenge, and every day you have to be the best version of yourself. Give
Yeah.
yourself credit and all that stuff as well. So I'm as real as I want to be and I can be with
Mhm.
myself and with my audience and our community. Because much like you said that you still have nightmares, I still have nightmares. I still have days that are just awful, obviously, like every human being.
Yeah.
And we
Mhm.
just, bounce back up. It's not easy. Sometimes you're like, I'm just gonna stay in this bed all day, and I really want to. Do we end up doing it once in a while? Um,
Mhm.
but once again, it's just a little bit of that. Like I do agree with you saying, that's a constant change, and
Mhm.
wanting to change, and willing to change, and willing to be better
Absolutely.
every single day.
Absolutely.
That was the end point of that. And lastly, going back to writing, there you go. See, I loop around as well when I get emotional. So writing is a big part of you. It's also a big part of me. I like I said, I feel like we're sisters from different,
Oh
like
yeah,
some
absolutely.
way, somehow. There's a connection
Mhm.
there. I started writing also when I was very, very young, and I started writing, well, what stuff that was happening to me. So I definitely hear you. Um, so what does writing mean to you?
Um, you know, there's there's also a sense of empowerment that I feel from writing. I've used writing as a defense. I've used it as an offense. As a way of healing, whether it's by storytelling or journaling. It is very much for me like second nature. It's instinct. When you write it down on a piece of paper or you type it up on a blank screen, the words that are, and I said before, like, how they can become trapped into your mind, like it's in solitary confinement, but like they become free and it feels like walking on clouds. Like, and I am not convinced that my love for any other craft could ever be as potent as the love and affection that I have for writing. I legit carry a journal with me wherever I go. And it's almost dangerous for me not to carry a laptop or journal with me everywhere, because like when a thought is knocking down in my head and I can't release it, I get very antsy or stressed. Anxiety builds up like crazy, and then I start chewing on my nails, or I'm like, I don't know, like picking
Yeah.
away at my polish. And if it gets really bad, I start doing this thing, which I do. um it's not good at all. It's actually very unhealthy. I do something called stress eating. So I think I remember one time I was in the middle of moving and I had my computer charger. I could not find it. I could not find any of my journals. There was no paper around. There was no pen. And I was just so stuck that I got so anxious that I saw a loaf of bread on the counter and I just ate it all. Because that was going on along with the many other issues that I was dealing with at the time. And there was like just no form of release. So there was a loaf of bread on the stove and I ate it, like the entire loaf. And it's just something that is so vital for me I feel to survive. It's like the sense of release that I have. So, what it means a great freaking deal. And when I was a kid, now that I'm thinking about it, whenever I would have like a bad day at school or something alike, I would come home like so upset. And my mother told me to start journaling to help release the frustration. So I think a lot of that, from doing that at a young age is where it started from. And I did. And when I was done, she would say, okay, now go rewrite a story, that one that you just wrote on there, go rewrite it, but write one with an ending that you can live with. And when I got older, I started realizing that I apply that method to my actual fiction writing whenever I'm writing like movies or television shows or books. And the characters I wrote about were always, to a certain extent, or to a certain capacity, but they were always me in some way, shape, or form, but they had an alternate ending. And this ended up being one of the methods I use, while I'm on this journey of overcoming trauma. So for it to be so intertwined with my everyday life, it has to be of major importance. Like I said, it's second nature, it's instinct. It is definitely 100% like breathing.
I once again completely agree. I love a lot of vocabulary words you said, and one of them is obviously release. I think that's an important vocabulary word that we all need, first of all, of course. And second of all, we're finally starting to get used to, or at least starting to kind of say, hey, this is your way of releasing whatever is that's inside you.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important thing. Not only going back a little bit to your past, like you said, just sweeping things under the rug, kind of, culture-wise. But it goes from that to anything that we have with our own thoughts as well. So the fact I feel like one of these moments of hearing you speak, I should be taking notes so I can make sure like to tell you stuff I really want to tell you before I get speechless again. But one of the most beautiful things I feel like what your journeys that you're talking about with writing, with just a journey itself, is that you make sure, like, better said, what is the problem, if we want to call it a problem, like exactly where to handle, like where to go through. So essentially, that without it, you'll be, of course, you have the inside you. Yeah, see, I told you I can't speak today. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
There's like so many things I want to say. Like, you have a creative mind. It's a meme somewhere. You have like 1,000 tabs open. The creative mind.
Absolutely. That's why you write, because when you can't articulate your thoughts, you just write it down. And
you just write it down. Exactly. It's like I need a pen right now in my hand. I really feel like that. I feel naked right now. I do. Oh gosh, so much patience people have for me, please. Anyways, going back to it. So sorry.
Very good. Don't say sorry.
Yeah, you're right. That's something else that we can catch each other on. That's wonderful. Yeah. It really is. With the issue that you have, like, you already know that you have, you eat a whole lot, you stress eat. Because you know that, you have found solutions and ways to make sure you don't get to that, because that's not the solution. That was essentially what I was trying to say. That's, I think, of your journey, that you recognize your faults, whatever they may be, and that could be one of them, of course, because I feel like there's something beautiful behind knowing, all right, so if I don't do this, I do something wrong, or like I stress eat, or if I don't release in this way, like for me, my personal case, if I don't release through writing or through anything creative, mainly it starts with writing, I get cranky. I just get in a weird bad mood with, not with everyone, I feel like, but just kind of like, it's one of those things that you just changes in your mind. You're like, no, I don't want to do anything, and I'm stopping this right now, and I don't want to have fun. And it just, it sounds so weird to say that as an adult that we are, but you're like, no, there's a reason behind this. And before you get in a bad mood or before you get cranky, well, for sleep, if you need to sleep, or rest if you need to rest, but mainly that, more than that, better said, release. So I do agree, and I understand you, and that's what, sorry, I was trying to say, not sorry. Oh my goodness. All right. So really quickly, what piece of advice would you say you can give to our listeners in this particular case, or from all around the world, obviously, that are currently undergoing like toxic relationships? Like, how would you get out of them, or like what a piece of advice, sorry.
No, I feel like this is like a topic that we're gonna have to keep circling around, because it's so relevant in so many areas. So again, with the journey of self-love and value, I feel like once you begin to comprehend your actual worth and believe it, is when you start to make choices that will allow you to move away from what is toxic. But 100%, it starts with you. And it can't be a choice made by another. I've done that before, where like someone, from the outside was like, look at what you're doing to yourself. This person is not good for you. You're answering calls at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning every single day. You're not getting sleep. You're constantly being talked down to. You have to, stop this. And I'm like, it didn't, in my head, it didn't, as much as I wish that I could do what that person said, because let me tell you, the state that I was in, I 100% wished it. I couldn't, because that thought didn't originate from me.
Yeah.
So it can't be a choice made by another. It's not going to work. It has to be you, because it's my goodness. I can't.
Yeah, we're back in the same circle. I do agree that we have to circle around this and have like all the other podcast sessions, because I do agree.
But it's so necessary.
We both get emotional because of what happened to us. And it's not because we're still overcoming that particular side, give or take a little bit here and there. I feel like it's because we understand that so well.
Yeah.
That it starts within you, and it doesn't have to be specifically with toxic relationships, even though that is our main topic right now. Just anything you want to do in life, it starts with you. So that is the best advice. And once you see it. It's just make sure, and then what you said as well, value yourself, know your worth. Like, if I'm still working on valuing and knowing my worth, if you're in a toxic relationship, please remember even more so, like, know your worth.
Yeah, it's so important. I feel like, as I said, once you get that, everything else falls into place naturally. Because when you know your worth, you automatically start doing actions that will, follow, and you somehow eventually find your way out of that sticky situation that you were in. And then not only do you find your way out of it, you start to look for things that don't mimic it. You start like, oh, well, that was a pattern. Okay, so let me actually try this way instead. Oh, okay, well, that was an issue too. So actually, I'm going to look this way instead of looking that way. So like I said, when you acknowledge a problem, when you acknowledge a situation, it's easier to tackle head on. But again, it starts with you. You have to make that choice. And like, I feel for absolutely everyone who has ever been in a toxic relationship, who is in a toxic relationship, I 100%, like, my heart will always have a space for each and every single one of you, and like a level of understanding. I mean, there's so many times where I come across somebody who is in that situation, and I feel so frustrated because I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I can't. And it's
that's like something else that we have to learn for ourselves, I feel like. Specifically in this situation as well. But the fact that you can't change anyone, and know how to let go and release that, because I've been frustrated for other people as well, and annoyed, and you're like, don't you see what you're doing or what's happening? And it's just kind of like, okay, I need to step away. And it sounds like, oh, I'm letting them be and like let things happen. It's not that precisely. It comes from a side of like also having my own mental health. Okay. Yep. Like, I can't do anything. I'll be there to support you and hear whatever you need. It's just, it goes beyond that, because like we said, it starts with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I have a few more questions really quickly for you. We're definitely going back and talking a lot more with these kind of
I love it.
Conversations, because I'll definitely have more of my brain cells back by then, obviously. But once again, like, I do get speechless in some way, and that's difficult for me to do because I do talk a lot. Because it's just, I love hearing your kind of stories like yours, because it's just empowering. It's motivating. It's all the times I've heard stories from other people throughout my recent years. What I've want to do is, no matter what age you are currently and what age you will be in the future, you hear these stories and you're like, you know what, we can do this, we can
Yeah,
get out of this
absolutely.
toxic relationship, we can do all that. So for me, it's kind of like there's no need for me to talk a little bit more, because I was like, it's like you said it all.
Oh.
It's just, I really, that's congratulations. Like, once again, like, if you leave me speechless, that's a big thing. I talk for hours. um so um so to wrap things up, kind of, sort of, hopefully, but we'll be back though. um what do you do? Give me just one quick thing that you do every single day for some self-love.
There's this thing that I do called Mindfulness Check, and my therapist actually taught me this. It's where I literally talk to myself and I ask myself, how am I doing? Unfiltered, not caring about what the correct answer is or how dark it is. I have to be in that moment 100% honest with me. Depending on where I am on that meter, I sometimes take it upon myself to adjust my environment to better my answer if need be. But if there's something that can be done at the moment, then I typically stay in that moment of mindfulness and basically keep myself on standby to vent if I need to. So typically, like, if I do a mindfulness check and I'm okay, I'll say, oh, I'm feeling this, but I'm okay. Like, this is something I can get through. Okay, great. I check out of mindfulness and then I go about my day. But if I'm in a situation where, like, I am feeling trapped, I legit keep myself on standby. And in a way, it's kind of like I'm not necessarily checking out of the real world, but I am being cautious with where I'm putting my energy and making sure that I'm conserving a lot of that energy for myself, because I know I'm going to need it later. And sometimes I can be in situations where the environment is 100% out of my control. But if I can at least vent to myself about it, I know that some of the weight has lifted from my shoulders, and it can last me until I gain control of the environment again. So again, this kind of circles around to self-care and self-awareness, because it is a part of self-love, and it doesn't just count for the external parts. Your insides, your mind, your spirit, they all, in so many ways, whether it's a mindfulness check, whether it's meditating, they all need to be tended to. So when you start caring for yourself, and again, we're circling on this, but it's so necessary, so I don't care. But when you start caring for yourself, you begin to understand your own worth. And like I said earlier, when you begin to comprehend that worth, your actions naturally will begin to govern themselves accordingly. 100%.
Completely. I love that what's it called again? Mindfulness check, right?
Mindfulness check, yeah.
Every
Shout
single
out
day.
to
I
my
feel like that's
therapist.
something super important. I have lots of follow-up questions, but for now, we're going to leave that for the next time, without a doubt, because we all need that. It goes back to like what we were saying before. Just being diagnosed, like if you have some health issues, you go to the doctors. It's kind of the same way. You got to check up on yourself in order to continue. There's so many things that come our way. It doesn't matter what you do in your life, who you're with, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, if you're a grandma, it doesn't matter. Like there's so many things thrown at us on a daily basis, and especially now, and more and more and more, because of social media, we have more TV channels than ever before, all these sorts of things. It's so important to check on yourself.
Yeah.
So the last 3 really quick questions. We're almost done for today, definitely, at least. 3 adjectives to describe you. Go.
Oh God, this question. I'm so very good at describing how I feel, but what I am is so hard. Okay. Creative, adventurous, I like to think, and loyal. But that is the loyal part. It can be good or bad, because sometimes, because of my loyalty, I am so blinded to if that loyalty is actually, where it's being placed, if it's in a good place or in a bad place. Again, that goes with like the toxic relationship part, putting your loyalty in people that don't deserve it. So
that is an interesting outlook as well, and loyalty.
Yeah.
Love it. Love how real you are. For what in your life do you feel most grateful, my darling?
The women in my life, hands down, some of the strongest people I know. A majority of the women in my family raised their kids on their own for a time, if not the whole time. They just picked up their head and they kept on marching on. And it makes me even more grateful that this climate of pro women is currently alive and well. Celebrating these awesome people and their magic has been the most exciting time. So women, hands down.
100% agree. Of course. I feel like it's time, and it's something that's finally being celebrated, and we're starting that pattern, even though it's just been recent. We're like, let's do this, and we rock as women that we are. We really do. We do so many wonderful things, and that's another conversation of its own. So for our last, Nastassja. I have to think of it in Spanish. Nastassja ya está, of course. Nastassja. Like I say it with a Spanish accent as well every time I say your name. So.
I know, I do too, because I'm actually told that I say it wrong because it's not supposed to be Nastassja, but I say Nastassja, but it's supposed to be Nastassja. And it's apparently, I think it's a Russian name, but it comes
sounds from, like that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's a Russian name, but it comes from the Greek name Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask you earlier on when we were just talking before recording and whatnot. I'm like, do you get that a lot? Like Anastasia? I'm like, I don't want to be that kind of person though.
No, but sometimes I say Anastasia. Like, did you know the Shakespeare story? Like how he didn't even know how to spell his own name, so he spelled it differently all the time. Have you heard of that? So Shakespeare didn't know how to spell his name, apparently. Or rather, he gave different versions of how to spell his name.
Of how to spell the name. That's interesting.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I say to people my name, I spell it Anastasia. If I'm in Starbucks, I actually spell it because the spelling of my name is Nastassja, and that J always gets people. So sometimes when I'm in Starbucks or if I'm somewhere and I just don't feel like having my name butchered, I just put Nastasia, and that typically brings the chances of them spelling my name correctly to like 50%. So
I agree. Once again, we have a lot of podcasts coming, a lot of conversations, and one of them is names. I swear, because I have the same thing. I spell my name differently. I spelled my name different when I was a child, because that's what also my parents told me to. There's a whole side story that we can't go on this tangent right now, sadly. But it's to be continued without doubt. So I hear you with names, and Nastassja is just so pretty. So definitely, finally, for last, where can we find you, Nastassja?
Instagram, it's Nastassja _Sanchez, so Nastassja, and then _Sanchez, Sanchez. Twitter is Nastassja San, so my name is too long to be a Twitter handle, so it's just San. When it comes to the things that I'm writing and my projects, my current writing projects are all in the hands of studios or production companies. So you have to wait just a little bit, like a smidge longer for that. But I am thinking about
freaking exciting.
I'm excited.
I can't believe I'm interviewing you out of all people. Like, I'm just so, I kid you not, behind the scenes, like I was telling my husband this, like I was bouncing up in the air. I'm like, how? Like, she's just amazing. And she's on my podcast, and it's just, life is perfect.
Oh, thank you. Oh my, I'm excited to actually do this. I've been talking about it all week to my business partner. I was like, I'm doing a podcast on Tuesday, so please don't call me then. I'm going to be busy doing I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to talk about things I really want to talk about. So, but I have been thinking about starting up a blog again. I used to have one a bit ago. I used to correlate my everyday walking life along with a country song, whatever country song that kind of had to do with whatever theme that I was talking about, and kind of mix the two together and how they related. But I don't have that anymore. And though if I do start a blog, I have no idea what the theme would be. But I've been thinking about it for about a year now, but we'll see. Just add something else.
So obviously, on my behalf, links all down below. I'll link you, like you're linked everywhere, literally.
Awesome.
Through the Go2Fly story on our blog, thealwaysbeliever.com, obviously, but also on the podcast and whatnot. I make sure that you're definitely listed there, and that people can find you, because you are just a gem of a person. My gosh.
Oh, thank you.
Follow, like, and subscribe down below. Kind of like the YouTuber you were talking about. I'll do it for you. See, that's what I'm here for as well. All right, this has definitely would have been the longest podcast we've done, and there's so much coming.
I'm so sorry. I'm a rambler.
Me too. And part of this podcast, you just left me speechless. So I don't know what, like, I'm gonna hear this back and I'm like, oh gosh, I sound so cringy. But you know what? You gotta love yourself no matter the moment you're in.
You
And this is
do.
where I'm at right now with you because I'm so freaking excited. I feel like it's also that, like, you have no idea how excited I am to just.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm grading from ear to ear right now.
So wrapping it up, can we say, or try to say at least at the same time, Team Flyer? Right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Team Flyer.
There you go. So thank you very much for listening, Team Flyer, for this amazing the longest podcast yet, without a doubt. Totally worth it. Nastassja Sanchez, Maverick again?
Rebel Maverick.
Maverick. Oh, I love that name. Linked down below and everywhere else. I'll see you next time. Tune in. New episodes every Wednesday, and talk to you soon later. Bye.
Bye.